My wife, a 35-year-old female, and I, a 34-year-old male, share a life together with our 3 kids. However, our marriage has been plagued by long-standing issues that came to a head at the close of 2021. As a result, we decided to separate briefly, but in 2022, we reunited with the condition of attending therapy every 2 weeks for a year. Regrettably, we only managed to sustain the therapy for about 3 to 4 months. Both of us harbored reservations about our therapist, and my wife expressed that she didn't find it beneficial. We mutually decided to discontinue the therapy and began working on our issues independently. The primary reasons behind our therapy were: A. My wife no longer felt any attraction towards me. B. She didn't want any physical contact from me, feeling repelled by my touch, which extended to hugs, kisses, cuddling, or any form of affection. C. She expressed a desire to explore her sexuality with other people, either men or women. We had been together since our early teens and had only ever been with each other. She also wished for solitude, believing she would find happiness on her own. Initially, things seemed to improve, but recently, I stumbled upon an old confession she had written 18 years ago. It revealed an incident where a mutual friend had kissed her. While that was supposed to be the entire story, the confession detailed how much she enjoyed the attention and even initiated a kiss with the friend in a separate room. It hadn't progressed beyond that, but this revelation left me in turmoil. I confronted her about it, and she claimed it was so long ago that she didn't remember it clearly. She reassured me that our marriage had been faithful for the entire time and we had built a life together. I accepted her explanation but acknowledged that it would take some time for me to process it. Despite this, I didn't believe our marriage was in jeopardy. However, recently, she disclosed that a mutual male friend, with whom she had been chatting, had been expressing his love for her and even made a remark about her appearance. Her response was simply, "Dude, come on," and he apologized. I was disheartened that she hadn't set clear boundaries earlier, especially when he suggested hanging out alone. On our special anniversary, my mood was somber. During our walk, she repeatedly inquired about what was bothering me. Eventually, I expressed my distress about the infidelity situation, her failure to establish clear boundaries, and her lack of effort in planning special activities for our anniversary. She became emotional and tearfully confessed her ongoing desire to explore her sexuality with other people, her enjoyment of the attention she received from other men, and her continued aversion to physical contact with me. She claimed that she had been pretending for a year, even though she didn't want any physical affection from me. She insisted that she didn't want to lose me or the life we had built. As a result, we decided to return to therapy. However, after reflecting on the situation, I'm unsure if I want to continue. I feel like I might be just a safety net, waiting for her to decide between pursuing other relationships or being alone, and I don't believe it's fair for me to be a backup plan in our marriage. I expressed my apologies for the lengthy post, yet I felt it necessary to provide the complete context. Would I be unreasonable to consider a divorce, even though we had agreed to undergo therapy? Frankly, if a partner confessed to feeling repelled or disgusted by my touch, it would be a deal breaker for me. Add to that her desire to explore her sexuality with others. If she's inclined that way, she should pursue it in a different relationship. This situation is clearly causing you immense sadness, and I believe it's time for me to end this relationship. Possibly Zesty Close astutely observes that living with someone who finds the idea of touching me revolting is unbearable. Even if she changes her stance, I don't need justification to change my mind first. Alaufa sees her desire as wanting the comfort of a home, me, while not wanting to actually be with me. I become her backup plan. I won't fall for her declarations of love or proposals to try therapy again. Her actions show a lack of respect, which renders any love meaningless. Wei's insight echoes this sentiment. She's using me for stability, making her life easier. I deserve better, and she deserves to learn that the grass isn't always greener. The crown and anchors question lingers in my mind. Why am I still in this marriage when my wife finds me physically repulsive? It's time to face the truth that she has been dishonest for a long time. It's clear she's using me, and it's time to end this relationship. I edited my post to address some questions. We both share household responsibilities, including chores, taking care of the kids, and communicating about household tasks. I'm not a neglectful or apathetic husband who sits idly by while my wife watches the kids and takes care of the household. I've always been actively involved in our family life. However, One reason I wanted to discontinue therapy with our previous therapist was due to a concerning incident involving my wife's inappropriate messages with a coworker. While I was at work, I was fixing a backup phone that our kids use when I noticed these messages popping up. I confronted my wife about them, and she initially denied their existence, claiming she had already deleted them. It was only when I revealed that I had seen the messages on the other phone that she apologized and confessed, subsequently ceasing communication with the coworker. However, when I shared this incident with the therapist, she brushed it off and made me feel like it was my fault. I realized she was prioritizing my wife's interests over mine. Furthermore, my wife has always had validation issues, losing her sense of judgment when someone compliments her or gives her attention. Despite trying for 20 years to be enough for her, she seems to hold other people's comments in higher regard. Despite all of these challenges, I can't deny that I love my wife with all my heart. We share 3 children, and the thought of losing 50% of my time with them through shared custody is something I wish to avoid. My wife remains the most beautiful woman I've ever laid eyes on, and she still has the power to make me feel weak. Even after 3 kids and 2 decades together, this is the most difficult decision of my life. Living without her might be necessary for my self-value and self-respect, but it's an incredibly hard decision. The OP provided an update to their post, stating that they received many messages offering advice and interest. They mentioned having read over 1,000 comments over 2 days and sharing a conversation with their wife, which they had written down and asked her to listen to without interruption. They begin the conversation by addressing their wife's previous statements. I don't know what you thought you were going to accomplish by telling me that you were repelled by my touch. You want to explore your sexuality with other men and women, and you want to be alone. I think you thought that by being honest, it was the right and okay thing to do. However, it just showed me how little respect you have for me. I don't believe you realize how insulting and disrespectful everything you said is. You don't consider my feelings at all. You seek validation from other men and never set any proper boundaries until I find out or a line has been crossed. I can't remember a time in 20 years where you've said, "Stop, this is inappropriate, and it shouldn't go any further." You allowed a mutual friend to tell you he loved you and liked your ass, and you weren't the one to stop the communication, he was. His therapist could tell the conversation was unhealthy, and I could see it too, but you couldn't. Either you don't respect me enough to put my feelings ahead of your own need for validation, or you simply don't care. I can't fix this, and you don't seem to want to fix this. I've been there for you for 20 years. My love for you has remained unwavering, my affection, my devotion. However, it's evident that you don't share the same sentiment. You believe you're missing out on something and hope that exploring that void in the arms of another person will fill it. But it won't. Instead, it will leave you utterly alone, our family gone, and me gone, because you think the grass might be greener on the other side. I can't fathom how someone with a loving husband, someone who cares, respects, and means the world to them, someone with 3 beautiful kids, a robust support network, good friends, and a loving family, could abandon their entire life for a fleeting experience, thinking it will bring fulfillment. Plain and simple, you're using me. I've become a safety net for you, a place to return to while you explore. But I'm not a fallback option. I'm not a safety net. I am a person who deserves love, touch, romance, and admiration. I deserve respect and reciprocation. I want to be crystal clear. You not telling me about these issues and letting an entire year pass while I thought things were improving is a form of deceit. I'll be attending therapy by myself to understand why I've allowed such abuse and neglect from the person who was supposed to guard and protect me, the one I thought I'd share my life with forever. I'm not asking for a divorce right now, but things need to change. You must attend therapy by yourself. After 6 months of both of us being in therapy, we can consider couples therapy. During this time, you need to stop seeking validation from other men. I don't want to police your conversations, but daily interactions with single men are inappropriate until you can clearly define and enforce boundaries. If these boundaries are broken, you'll have to win me back. Woo me, make me fall in love with you again. I expect romance dates and affection in our daily lives. Rejecting romance because you don't like it and deciding that I don't deserve it is incredibly selfish. I won't accept an open marriage under any circumstances. Monogamy shouldn't be too much to ask. If it is a deal breaker for you, then we can divorce and you can pursue other relationships. I understand that my demands may seem firm, but I'm standing up for myself and what I deserve. I refuse to settle for just enough any longer. If anything I've expressed here leads you to decide it's time to end our relationship, we can move forward with a separation and initiate divorce proceedings. We'll sell the house and reach a mutual 50-50 custody agreement for our children. I want to emphasize that I have never and will never use our children to hurt you, and I am committed to co-parenting with you to the best of my abilities. Despite the stark tone of my words, I want to reiterate that I love you with all my heart and still wish to spend my entire life with you, watching our children grow up together. However, I can no longer accept being an afterthought or playing second fiddle to an imaginary life you might want to pursue. Opie then provides an update, mentioning that one of the recurring things his wife has said in their conversations is her concern about not being enough for him. She feels unsure if she can meet his expectations of what a good, loving wife should be. This time, he reverses the statement, explaining that he knows he's not enough for her. They've had a conversation, and she has agreed to attend therapy as they work on their relationship. While Opie acknowledges that many, if not all, may think he should immediately pursue a divorce, he emphasizes his commitment to giving it his absolute all after 20 years of their relationship. He's unsure whether this effort will lead to a successful outcome, but expresses gratitude to everyone for helping him find the strength to stand up for himself. The update leaves him feeling somewhat flat. The commentator expresses their understanding of Opie's desire to try to salvage the relationship after 20 years, even though they personally find it challenging to believe that much will change. The trust has eroded due to the revelation of feeling repelled by his touch, secretive texting with coworkers, seeking validation from other men, and wanting to explore her sexuality outside the relationship. The trust was lost early on for the commentator, and they would have chosen to leave. They conclude by asking the audience for their thoughts on the situation. Let's move on to another story. Our next one comes from a suggestion on Twitter from Oreo. Thanks for the suggestion. This story is from Skoto1981, who writes, "Just overheard my husband declaring his love to someone else. I'm sitting on my couch, 10 minutes away from my 60th birthday today. My husband and I have been married for 35 years. We were at the doctor's office, as he's undergoing tests due to suspected cancer, making it an emotional day. He's currently on the porch, and I overheard him talking. Wondering who he was speaking to since no one else is here, except his dad in the bedroom, I decided to listen in. I heard him say things like, 'I love you more than anything. You're my soulmate, but we can't start our life together until I know if I have cancer, or not, because I don't want to burden you with that.' He even mentioned his biopsy appointment and expressed how much he loved this person. He has never declared his undying love to me or referred to me as his soulmate. I was initially confused, but then it hit me. We currently take care of his 87-year-old dad, who lives with us. We have grown kids, some living nearby and others far away. I'm perplexed about how he plans to start his new life. Will he take his dad with him? Does he intend for me to leave? We have plans for trips and other things, and my head is spinning. I'm not entirely shocked though. 10 years ago, I stumbled upon his adult friend Finder profile. I created my own profile and started conversing with him, and he was making plans with me, not knowing it was me. I confronted him, and after some effort, we worked things out. A few months ago, I saw his Kindle with a webcam on, connected to the Adult Friend Finder website. I chose not to confront him then, as I didn't have the energy for another confrontation. So I'm here now, contemplating what to do. Do I stay quiet and watch the lies and deceit unfold? Or do I go to the bedroom where he's sleeping and confront him about this life-changing situation? I'm the kind of person who avoids rocking the boat, and I prefer to remain unnoticed. Every man in my life has let me down, from my abusive, alcoholic father to every boyfriend before my first husband and now my current husband. The only man who hasn't hurt me is my son. Right now, it's too early to call my kids, family, or friends. I need to process this and decide how to proceed." One of the top comments on this post offers 3 choices, stating, "As far as I see it, you have 3 choices. First, the path of logic. Quietly consult a divorce lawyer and figure out what you need to do to protect yourself financially if he leaves. Make sure you have your own bank account and start keeping records of your income and expenses if you haven't already done so. If he participates in any household tasks you're unfamiliar with, learn from him so you can handle them independently. Get your affairs in order and plan your next steps in life. The emotional route involves storming into the bedroom, demanding to know who the woman is, insisting on seeing his phone, displaying your passion, reminding him of your contributions to the relationship, demanding he ends the affair, and attending marital counseling. You could make him sleep on the couch or ask him to leave altogether, ensuring he faces the consequences of his actions. The aim is to shake things up, offering a chance for reconciliation. However, bear in mind he might not want to reconcile, which could lead to a quick divorce or him becoming more adept at concealing his affair, maintaining the status quo. Another passive approach involves doing nothing, pretending you didn't hear anything, carrying on as normal, and hoping he won't blindside you with a divorce. Alternatively, you could simply accept whatever fate awaits, adopting an extremely passive stance due to the emotional strain. Raven responds, suggesting another option: leave, then consult a lawyer. Kate proposes a more assertive approach, advising you to relinquish all the responsibilities he placed on you, stop caring for his elderly father, divide the bank accounts, and serve him with divorce papers immediately. Kate doesn't recommend waiting to find out about his cancer diagnosis, as he believes you should prioritize your well-being and financial security. Hio echoes a similar sentiment, pointing out the double standard in his behavior. If he has cancer, he's willing to burden you with his illness, but if he's healthy, he'll abandon you for someone else. Hio emphasizes the unfairness of this situation and suggests filing for divorce promptly without confronting him first. A more violent reaction is mentioned by another commenter, expressing a strong emotional response to the betrayal. Moneyprint offers a harsh but pragmatic perspective. Confront him and leave, regardless of his cancer diagnosis. Moneyprint argues that you shouldn't be burdened by his infidelity and that he doesn't deserve your patience and loyalty. In a small update, you share your response to the situation. After a sleepless night filled with inner turmoil, you couldn't contain your emotions any longer. You confronted him, expressing your decision to end the marriage. The logistics of who goes where are yet to be determined, but the marriage is officially over. Despite the exhaustion, you find solace in your decision. The commentator expresses gratitude for the overwhelming support received from the community and appreciates the involvement of the readers. They acknowledge the impact of the audience's love, support, and time. The story ends with a note of gratitude and the hope to see the readers in the next installment.